Hello, my name is Kyle, and today we're going to be going over the installation instructions for your electrified mortise lock. Alright, let's go ahead and unbox the hardware. We'll start with the small box first. Inside of the small box, you'll have the template for verifying the door prep. You'll have your control body, control front plate, battery pack, ferrite shield and reader installation hardware, as well as the reader and cover as well. Next, we'll go with unboxing the larger box. Inside of the large box, you will find your mortise lock body, mounting hardware, inside thumb turn, and 2 trim packs. Let's open up the trim packs and see what's inside. Outside rose assembly, you can tell it's the outside because it has the through bolts. Inside rose assembly with rose plate, spindle pack, and what should be 2 levers. After unboxing your lock body, the first thing we want to do is remove the face plate that's held on by 2 Phillips head screws. You can go ahead and set these screws and the face plate off to the side. Next, we're going to position our lock cable in the cable hole inside of the door. To do that, it helps if you route a semi-rigid wire through that hole out the bottom and attach it to the cable. Now that we have our cable ran through the cable hole, I've disconnected the semi-rigid wire, and it's time to attach the lock body to the door using the combo screws provided. You will find these in the hardware pack that we pulled out of the large box. When tightening down the screws, it's important to remember not to over tighten. You don't want to possibly strip the holes that you're putting the screws in. Next, we're going to attach our levers to our rose assemblies. The cap head screws that mount the lever to the rose assembly can be difficult to tighten, so if you are using the Allen key that is provided in the screw pack, you might want to use some pliers to assist in tightening it, or you could use a T-handle as well. We're going to start with the outside rose assembly. The outside rose assembly has the through bolts that you will see. The rose scalp, the finished piece, will be installed on it, and then we will install the lever on the outside using the cap head screw. When tightening down the screw at the end, it's good just to check to make sure that the lever is not too loose. That will help reassure yourself that you made it tight enough. Next, we're going to prep our inside rose assembly. We will leave the rose scalp off to the side as we attach the lever with that same cap head screw. This step will not be required for our aspiring and jasper levers. We're going to get ready to start installing the trim and the other components on the outside of the door, so let's go over what the door prep looks like and how you can tell the inside from the outside. We'll notice on the door prep that the bottom looks very similar. We'll have 2 through bolt holes with the spindle hole kind of at the bottom here. You'll notice it looks the same on both sides of the door. The inside of the door will only have 1 other prep, and that will be for the thumb turn. You'll see 2 pilot holes for your mounting screws, and then the center part for the actual tailpiece of the thumb turn. On the outside of the door, you will notice a large hole for your mortise cylinder, and then the part up top for your reader. We're going to install our spindles. It's important to remember that the long side of the spindle and the spring will go away from the door. It's also important to remember orientation, so we want it to look like a square and not a diamond when installed into the lock body. We're going to get ready to install our rose assemblies. We've identified the outside of the door with the large mortise housing hole and the reader hole. We've also identified the outside rose assembly with the through bolts. So first step is we're going to push it through from the outside. Get our inside rose assembly set in place like so. From the inside, we're going to start to thread in our mounting screws. I like to take it to about 80% tight and then start the bottom. When tightening down the through bolts, it's important to remember to not go too tight. You don't want to squeeze the lock body or the door, or else this can happen, which the lever is stuck down because everything's so tight. After you're done installing your through bolts and tightening it down and making sure that you didn't go too tight, it's good just to check to make sure that your lever pops back to its normal position and that your latch fully extends. For the aspiring and jasper levers, the rose cannot fit over the lever, and so when you're installing the inside rose assembly, your lever will not be attached. You'll install the through bolts, you'll then put your rose scalp on and attach the lever using a small set screw. But because our rose scalp can fit over the lever, we are able to attach the lever before we actually install the rose assembly. Next, we're going to install our thumb turn. The thumb turn can go top to bottom, your mounting holes on either side. You will put that into the lock body, and once the faceplate is sitting flush with the door, go ahead and install the 2 mounting screws. Staying true to the testing as we go kind of mentality, now that we have our thumb turn installed, let's go ahead and turn it to make sure that it's smooth operation of the deadbolt. No binding. Now we're going to go ahead and install the mortise cylinder on the outside of the door. First, you need your collar and spring. We'll drop the mortise cylinder into the center of that. I like to put the key halfway in. It actually ends up working kind of like a wrench. Inside of the lock body is an anti-rotation bracket for the mortise housing. There are 2 Allen head set screws on one on either side of the lock body. You want to find the one on the side that you're looking to install the mortise cylinder and tighten that one down until the mortise cylinder does not move. After your mortise cylinder has been tightened down, it's good to check the functionality of it. One side should be throwing the deadbolt. The other side should be retracting the latch. Now we're going to install the faceplate to the mortise lock body. Be able to set that into place, then use the 2 Phillips head screws to tighten it down. Now that we're working with the control portion of the lock, we want to make sure not to damage the door position switch that's on the front side of that control. As we did before, we're going to attach a semi-rigid wire to help pull the reader cable through the door prep. Before installing the control and pulling the reader cable through the door, we want to first install the other plug at the bottom portion of the control. After we've connected the black plug, we're going to install or place the cable in this cable clip on the bottom side of the control. Alright, we'll insert the control cartridge into the door, pulling on the reader cable as we push it into the cartridge prep. Once it's in and sitting flush with the edge of the door, we'll install it with the 2 mounting screws. Now we're going to start to install the reader. If your reader cover is currently installed and snapped into place, you might need a small flathead screwdriver to get the reader cover off. First, we're going to put our ferrite shield into place and then attach the reader clip to the back of the reader. Ensuring the proper orientation of the reader, we're now going to install the fire safety strap with the screws provided in the installation kit. Now that our reader is installed, we're going to install the reader cover, making sure that the LED portion of that is at the top, and listen for a small clip sound. Our cartridge is installed, so now we're going to pull out our battery holder and install the AA batteries. After the last battery is put into place, you should see a flashing light and a beep. Last part of the installation process is to install the armor plate on the cartridge. When installing your electrified mortise lock, it's just important to remember that you don't want to over tighten anything and you want to kind of test the function of the lock as you go. Sometimes if you over torque a particular screw, it could cause a problem with the lock functioning, and you want to kind of test that as you go along. We suggest using handheld screwdrivers to prevent that from happening. This completes the installation of our electrified mortise lock.